Gentlemen, let's jump into some football quick hitters because this is where the fun really begins here. Because it's been a whirlwind of events on social media the last couple of days. Dustin shaking his head. Oops, let me move this around. Dustin shaking his head, but it's been a wild one. If you're crazy, if you don't know what's going on, McKenzie, Milton, there was a big old thing that blew up about him and his availability on the team. We actually had a bat cave in which we go into our Discord and we talk about the latest going on and scoop and started kind of connecting the dots here and there, and you got to see, McKenzie Milton wasn't at the practice. He was resting, and, media wasn't saying much on it. You got to see Jordan Travis playing, and McKenzie Milton's not out there. So the biggest thing here to take note of, McKenzie Milton is not hurt. That's one thing we can kind of squash that whole rumor there. Gentlemen, not hurt. There is something that he's going to have to deal with throughout this upcoming season. I don't know if that will ever make it to where the staff will say something about it and Mike Norvell will say anything. I doubt it. Don't think so. But there's just something that, I think, the staff has found out that Milton is going to have to deal with for this upcoming season. Does that make it where he's available for every game at 100%? Don't know. That's something that I'm questioning. But it was good to see him, though, out on the field today, playing well, played well, had some kind of some nice plays out there. The stuff that we don't get to see versus what we hear. But Milton came back, looked good and mobile. Jordan Travis wasn't out there. We can go and squash this too. Jordan Travis is fine. If you're in our Discord, you guys have that information. But Jordan Travis is good. Just kind of a rest day for him, which is much needed. So yeah, just kind of wanted to squash some stuff there. And it's a quarterback competition, and it's good. Both quarterbacks have had pretty interesting camps so far, and impressing too. What do you think, Nate, about this?
Well, I was waiting to see who's going first, but
I thought Dustin would be, since he's been all over me the past 48 hours. Now he's silent. That's how it usually goes.
I know, yeah.
Ahead, he's all over me, and then now, all talk.
Like I said last night on Mark Rogers, when I popped in there for a little bit, for the whole caveat with Milton has been his health and what he has to battle through with anything going on with what happened to him, So I think that's going to be a part of the season. I think that still him as the quarterback makes this a different team and makes it a different offense. Me preference wise, I prefer McKenzie Milton. It's not that I have an issue with, Jordan Travis. Some people misconstrue my thought that FSU is a better team with a different quarterback other than Travis. It's nothing personal. I don't dislike the kid. I just think that while he has had a lot of improvement, I still think that, he's a quarterback that, defenses will be able to figure out a little bit more quicker and easier than they can a McKenzie Milton. So, FSU needs this kid throughout the season. You and I talked a little bit about this yesterday, Mark Rogers too, about how, the health is so paramount to this season, and you can't leave camp down a quarterback, or you can't leave camp with a lot of questions about a guy who should be, is he your starter or not? So, Florida State's got to hopefully, persevere through that. And, for me, I just want to see Florida State do well in the field, whoever the quarterback is. We've all talked about we're going to see multiple guys. That's never going to not be the case. I just think that the long-term impacts of this team is better with Milton as the permanent guy. So that's just how I feel. It's good to see him back out there practicing today. So, a lot of people were ready to jump off a ledge.
Do you want to take on this comment from Andre so you can kill it off? Nate, you said the man was terrible. So what shouldn't we take from that statement?
Jordan Travis was terrible last year. He was. As a runner, he's great. Very dynamic with the ball in his hands. When it comes to being an efficient passer, getting the ball down the field, he left a lot on the field. I don't think that you can get much worse than what he was last year as a thrower. FSU needs significant improvement from him if they want to see Florida State's offense take the next step. I'm trying to be nice, and if you want to trigger my real response, I'll put it out there. But I'm trying to be nice and polite, and understanding that this kid has worked his tail off to get better. But there's people on the roster who I think are better quarterbacks. He's great as a runner. Perfect. You put him in a special package formation and let him run. It's great. You have him as your full-time quarterback. Do we need to revisit the North Carolina game in the second half, how horrible he was? No, we don't. So we won't go there.
Yeah, and I would say just going back to the rumors that have kind of circulated throughout this week, it really just feels like things got overblown. Because, let's be honest, it all started in that bat cave with you, Logan. Not that you said anything, though I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly what you said. But regardless, it seemed like this was more of the fan base taking something that wasn't said and just running with it. And then the next thing you know, it's everywhere. So I'm sure a lot of media the last couple of days around the Florida State beat have been pretty annoyed with all the McKenzie Milton questions. And I think everyone was a lot happier this morning when they were kind of able to put that to bed.
Yeah, no, that's the Florida. We're in true preseason. Like I was saying to Nate on Mark Rogers' show, there's always something going on in the preseason. There's always going to be some kind of storyline and some kind of rumor that's going to blow up. And of course, it's going to be about the quarterback situation. And McKenzie Milton coming off of a crazy leg injury. We're not seeing him at practice, blah blah. And what we said in the back cave got overblown times 1,000. But that's we're used to that, and the Florida State fan base kind of going overboard with a few things. But it's good to see Milton back out there. There's just some things that he'll have to deal with this upcoming season, and I wonder if that's going to play into effect on preparing in games and how you're going to go into them, depending on Milton. And with Jordan Travis too, he's had a great camp. He has been the best quarterback out of camp so far. And I think, going back to you, Nate, I think there were some games last year where they wouldn't have won if Jordan Travis wasn't out there. Was it with him using his legs a lot of time? Yes. Making sure that the ball was going down the field and getting the first downs and maybe making a 3rd and long. But, if there's improvement there throwing the ball, that's a big thing. And that's something that we keep on hearing from the staff and from the inside that's happening, which is a good sign.
Logan, they won 3 games last year.
They would have won 2-1 without him. Who would you have thrown out there?
You probably take away North Carolina. Oh God, don't even get me started on Blackman.
Well, you were making it sound that he's right there on Blackman's level.
As a passer, absolutely. There's no difference between them as a passer. But okay. So Florida State, like I said on Mark Rogers, I think with Jordan Travis, he brings you a certain dynamic as a runner, and that's going to create passing lanes. People are going to have to. They're going to have to, I can't be mean, man. I can't.
No, you don't have to be mean. Say it in a nice.
This kid needs to figure out how to not get so shut down so quickly, and that's what I think hindered the offense last year. You look at offensive line, but they played better. But his desire to run and not keep his eyes on the field when there's guys running open, a lot of times, hinders the offense. And he wasn't the most accurate guy on top of that, inconsistent. And I think it made and made these coaches' job easier to shut him down and figure out what they got to do to shut him down. And if you don't believe that's the case, just look at North Carolina and the tale of the two halves. Even look at Notre Dame; they started out well, and as the game went on, made it progressively harder and harder. So I'm just not. I need to see it. Just like with a lot of this team, I need to see it on the field before I can believe it.
And both things can be true. Jordan Travis can not be a great passer and still admit if he's not playing last year, we maybe win one game.
For sure.
Both things can be true. If you just look at his stats, he's only completing 55% of his passes. He's only throwing the ball 16 times a game. Like he just wasn't an accurate quarterback last year. If he improves, great, because his running threat is immense.
And I think the coaching staff knew that, and they schemed the offense around the strength of the quarterback. But when a guy can't consistently hit a 15-yard dig route, and that just kills your offense. So, but
I'm thinking more as where he was not even an option at all of being a starter last year, thrown into a COVID year, no spring, whatever kind of fall camp you want to have, whatever that was, gets thrown into there, and for what it's worth, played for a majority, a good amount of the season, not fully healthy too. And then now you give him a true spring, a fall, another good amount of months to be able to build chemistry with those wide receivers. And then, if that wide receiver room is much more improved too, I think that helps a lot for Jordan Travis. And we've, hearing that he feels a lot more comfortable in this offense along within the pocket, which that's what you're looking for. And I think I agree with you. I think that's the same way that you're thinking for Jordan Travis. It's the same way with McKenzie Milton. I want to see how really he can run and be fine in a real game, type, scenario. That's kind of, we both are in the same boat there. I want to see it on the field. I got to see it.
No, for sure. I need to see the improvements just to, feel confident that, Florida State, they have to get to 6-6 and get to a bowl game this year. That they have to. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I'm gonna write out, but whoever it is, this team's got to get to 6-6, and however they get there, whoever the quarterback is, it's gonna fall on them and them guiding that offense. So,
just to put in here to know before we move on, from what we've been told, Jordan Travis wasn't at practice today, but nothing to be worried about moving forward. So it's good to have that McKenzie Milton's playing and should have Jordan Travis back.